I, 28, think my girlfriend, 26, has been using my gym socks to wipe after going to the bathroom. I don't even know where to start with this. I'm dumbfounded. She just stormed out of the house and I'm sitting on the bed asking myself a lot of questions. I live a pretty normal life and I thought so did my girlfriend. We've been together for a few months, and after things got serious, we moved in together. We started sharing a lot of household responsibilities, but the one thing she was adamant on doing was the laundry. She would come home and find me in the bedroom getting the laundry together and would quickly ask me to go do something else. I'd come back to finish the laundry, and she would have already started it. I always thought that it was sweet and never her job to do it alone. But hey, if it makes her happy to do it all the time, I wouldn't stop her. This is where it takes a turn for the weird. I keep all of my socks and underwear in the bottom drawer of my dresser. I also go to the gym frequently, so I always keep a good supply of clean socks ready to go. I never kept count, but I know just by a visual glance that I have several pairs. This morning, when I went to grab a fresh pair for the gym, I noticed that there were several dress socks but no gym socks. Again, not weird, they must have been in the laundry. I went to check the laundry basket and it was empty. So I checked the washing machine and dryer, both were empty. I couldn't figure out where all of my gym socks had gone. So I did the very natural thing of asking my girlfriend what had happened to them. After all, she is the one who does the laundry all the time. She went silent, turned red, and ran out of the room. When I went after her to see if she was okay, she wouldn't talk to me. I told her I wasn't mad, I was just looking for my socks. She kinda mumbled, I don't know. I still wasn't mad, of course, but I was super confused. Socks just don't disappear. So I asked her again, even laughed about it, and she looked at me and got mad and said, I'll buy you new ones. The first thought that went through my head was she had somehow managed to destroy my socks while washing them. I thought the sight of that was actually pretty funny, so I joked with her about ruining my socks. Wrong thing to say. She immediately started crying, like full on sobbing. At this point, I don't care about the socks anymore. I want to know what's wrong with my girlfriend. I sat down next to her on the bed and put my arm around her and asked her if she was okay. She just kept saying she was sorry and that she would buy me new socks. I tried assuring her again that it was okay, even went as far as to say that I would buy new socks so she didn't have to. I sat with her for a few minutes trying to calm her down and eventually had to get ready for work. I told her I loved her and got my things together to leave for the day. On my way out, I grabbed the garbage to take outside. When I got outside, I lifted the lid of the garbage can and I noticed a small plastic bag sitting on top of the garbage already in there. I could see through the bag and there were socks in there. Since I was sure she somehow managed to ruin the socks washing them, I wanted to see for myself. There, inside the bag, were several pairs of my gym socks covered in what looked like poop. As soon as the smell hit, I knew it was poop. 1, we don't own any pets. 2, we don't have any kids. 3, whose poop was on my socks? Word could wait. I couldn't go the rest of the day wondering why my gym socks were covered in poop and inside a plastic bag in the garbage can. I grabbed the bag and walked back inside. As soon as my girlfriend saw the bag, she flipped out and started yelling at me. She said I shouldn't be going through the garbage and that I was disgusting for bringing it back into the house. I asked her to calm down and that I just wanted an answer as to why there was poop on my socks. I wasn't blaming her of anything, but she started accusing me of blaming her. That's when it clicked. I don't know what it was that had led me to ask this, but everything leading up to this moment had just been so crazy. I asked her, is this your poop? She started sobbing again and ran out of the house. I didn't go after her this time. So now I'm sitting on my bed with a bag of poopy socks on the floor and a lot of questions in my head. The only conclusion is that she used them after going to the bathroom, which that alone has its own set of questions above everything else. I sent her a text asking her to come back and she hasn't responded yet. I don't even know what I'm going to say if she comes back.
Okay, I'm a bartender and part of my job is cutting people off, which I don't do often. If you're buzzed and having a good time, I'm not gonna cut you off. But if you're wasted, can't talk, all over the place, nonverbal, I have to cut you off because it's the law. Because if something happens, you can sue me and my establishment for over-serving you. I'm not a criminal. So anyway, the other day I'm at my bar, this guy comes up, basically butts the entire line. Like there's a lineup and then he just comes and stands at the front. When the next guy in line comes up, the guy that butted goes, I was next. The guy goes, oh, sorry buddy, the line's this way. The guy goes, I don't think so because human nature is to pass on the right and the flow of how humans would naturally be herded would be so that it was this way. So the guy's like, yeah, but it's this way. Anyway, whatever. I'm like, it's fine. I can serve you both. The reason he wasn't cut off right then and there is because valid fear of mine is accidentally cutting someone off who maybe has Asperger's or communicates differently because you shouldn't be cut off for that. In fact, earlier that night, barback cut off a guy who I'm pretty sure was just really old and talked slowly. And he's like, I think you've had too much. And this guy probably had one beer, but he was like literally 95 years old. And I'm not interested in cutting people off unless they're drunk. So I go, okay, what do you want to drink? And he goes, I'll get a vodka soda. Okay. I serve it to him. He pays, he leaves. I take the next person in line and then this guy comes and taps me on the shoulder. He goes, hey, can I get it easy on the soda? I'm like, what? Dude, I want it easy on the soda. I'm like, the drink you're already drinking and have left with? Yeah, I ordered a vodka soda. I want easy on the soda. I'm like, okay. I've already served him. I remake the drink. He walks away. I look back. I see he's kind of stumbling. So I'm like, okay, fuck, he's cut off. He comes back later. It's a big lineup. And I'm like, should I just go into the lineup and say, hey, you don't have to wait in this lineup. I'm cutting you off. But then I was like, well, that would be embarrassing for him. So I'll just wait till he comes to the front so I can tell him discreetly. Female bartenders, tell me if you feel this. Cutting off a grown man is exhausting. Because you are inherently, the situation is inherently angering to them. They are drunk. You are a young girl. They're a grown man. I'm so young. Like, the situation sets you up to get yelled at, basically. He's like coming up and I'm psyching myself up and he goes, hey, can I get a vodka soda? And I'm like, you know what? I think we're gonna just cool it on the alcohol right now because I feel like maybe you've been overserved. I personally am uncomfortable giving you more, but I'm happy to offer you a water or a Coke. Again, why am I uncomfortable giving you more? Because that could actually fuck up my job. Why do you think I've been overserved? I'm like, just based on your actions, I just feel like the best thing to do is to stop serving you alcohol. I'm not about to give you like a fucking, you butted the line and then you said something about the flow of humans and then you returned your vodka soda after you already drank it and then you tripped over your own feet. Oh, and I saw him fighting with someone in the hallway later. He goes, okay, this is racist. I'm like, oh no. He goes, no, this is racist. He comes behind my bar with his phone, which I don't even know if he could open. Now you can see him slurring. He's wasted. He's angry drunk. He starts taking a video of me all behind my bar. I'm getting this all on camera. Oh no, I'm out of time. Whatever.
The worst piercing I've ever done. Oh yeah. Now, this had nothing to do with me. It was the bollocks of a client who wouldn't fucking listen to me. But it is still the worst one ever. So, I had these group of teenagers. We all love seeing teenagers coming into a shop, don't we? And there was only 2 of them getting pierced, the 2 of them that were booked in, but there was maybe 7 of them all fucking, oh my god, wow, you so aesthetic. Oh. So, it was 2 sisters, and they were both getting their tongues pierced. So, I brought the first one in, great wee lassie, she sat up in the bed, did what I told her, pierced, out the door. Few minutes, fantastic. The second girl, the second sister, fucking hell, nightmare. Got her in the room, did all the prep, all the blah blah blah, marked her, and anytime I went to put the clamp near her mouth, she'd fucking turn and pull her head away. And I was like, now you need to understand me. You cannot move your head away when I'm piercing you. Do you understand? There's going to be a needle in your mouth. You cannot be moving or jerking around like that. Like, you need to understand it. Oh God, I promise I won't move. I promise. I attempted it 3 times and the bitch, every time I did get the clamp on, tongue out, and I usually say, okay, take a nice deep breath in and then I do the piercing. And every time I said, take a nice deep breath in, she flicked the head away every time. And I was like, you can't do that. Please understand. I'm gonna have a needle in your fucking mouth. This went on for about 10 minutes. I got sick of it and I said, look, you're obviously not ready to get a piercing, which is fine, no problem. But I think we should either rebook you in or we're just gonna cancel today. No, I promise that'll be good. I promise that'll be good. I've been promising that for the last 10 minutes. And against my own better judgment, I was like, I'll do it one more time. If it doesn't work, it's not happening. So when I said take a nice deep breath in, I have the needles touching the tongue and I go take a nice deep breath in, and so everything's balancing on this finger to push. And I said, right, we'll do it one more time. Got the tongue in the clamp, everything balanced her tongue. I goes, right, now take a nice deep breath in, and the second I did that, she fucking pulled away and the needle went right down the front of her tongue. Didn't split her open bad, but there was definitely a mark, and your tongue bleeds quite a lot when cut. Just because there's a lot of blood flow, it's a big muscle. So she bled. So I said, look, you're bleeding. You just stay there, please. Oh, I just realised the time. This might go to a part 2. I goes, look, stay in the bed, please. You're bleeding from your mouth. I'm going to go get you some milk. I'll be back. Okay, go to part 2. Okay, part 2 of the worst piercing. So the girl was sitting on my bed, dripping blood. So I went to go get milk, because if you put milk in a little thing and get them to swish it around their mouth, milk is just a coagulant, so it just helps stop bleeding, especially in the mouth. So that's what I did. I went down to get a wee bit of milk, come back up, had antiseptic stuff waiting on standby. And in the meantime, this fucking bitch fucking jumped off the bed, ran out to her friends. Look what they did to me! Dripping blood the whole way up the hall. And I was like, for fuck's sake. And they're all looking at me as if I had 7 heads, as in like, what did you do? And I said, look, she's a grown woman and she couldn't understand the term sit still. What do you expect me to do? Like, there's only so much I can do as a piercer. You have a bit of responsibility yourself as the client to sit fucking still. And I was like, can you please get back in the room? We need to sort you out. You're dripping blood all over the salon. It sounds, I'm coming across really angry. I was actually quite nice to her, to be fair, but considering she was a bollocks, I should have been worse. But I wasn't. I did say it really nicely. So got her in the room, got her fixed up and all that shit. And like I said, it wasn't a slit, but there was like a line, like a wee tiny one. And that's where the blood was coming from. It just looked so much worse than it was. So I said to her, look, I'm sorry, this obviously isn't working. We'll cancel today. No, I'm so ready. I'm so ready. Let's do that. I'm ready. I was like, you're a bit fucking late. I'm sorry. I was like, we're cancelling it. I'm not asking anymore. My client's been waiting for quite some time because you couldn't sit still, even though she was the one that booked the appointment. Anyway, so eventually just the other sister paid, she left, everyone left, and I was just sitting there going, fuck, I need to get paid more. But it was just, I should have just went with my own judgment of just being like, she's clearly not ready for this. Doesn't matter how old you are, like a 30-year-old could come in and still shit herself, you know what I mean? But I should have gauged that earlier. I did, but I ignored myself and I shouldn't have. So I should have kicked her out earlier. But c'est la vie. That's what happens when you don't sit still for your piercer. Let this be a fucking warning. All you jumpity biddies, sit still. Please. It'd be much appreciated. It's really for you more than for us, to be fair. Like, I'll stab a hole in someone. If you move, it's not my problem. It's you. You're the one who has to wear the jewellery, not me. So, yeah. Be a good little person and sit still. That'd be lovely.
Oh my god, so I went to the Segers shop in Berlin the other day. Why am I out of breath? I haven't even started talking yet. Yeah, it's a serious topic though, isn't it? Like, I had to go in there because I was like, do you know what, I'm in Berlin. I feel like they specialise in sex shops and I've never been in a proper one before for some reason. So I went in there, I was overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed by the amount of stuff. I was physically like panting because I was so excited. I'd never seen so much, and there were so many types of people in there. Like, there was like dominatrixes in there testing out the whips and that, and my eyes were just like looking around, and I thought I need to bring some stuff back home, but I didn't know what to pick, and I was on a budget, so I thought I'm going to limit myself to 2 things. But what 2 things do I get? I was looking at the plugs, I was looking at the whips, I was looking at the rings, the schlongs, I was looking at the balls in the mouth. I was like, what do I do? So I actually got overwhelmed. I started taking photos of all the objects, sending them to Matt for a review, and I've never seen a boy reply so fast in my life. Never seen it. But yeah, he was like, oh, like, what's that in the distance? Take a photo of that. So I'm literally walking around doing zoom-ins on different objects for Matt, and then we're like debating it. But I'm literally like overwhelmed. So I had to take a seat in the middle of the sex shop on the sofa, and I had all these things like laid out on my lap, like all boxes, and I was just like this. In the end, actually I won't show it, it's a bit weird, isn't it? I got a plug and I got this. Whoa! Look, let's test it. But yeah, 10 out of 10 experience. It was called Gorgeous in Berlin if anyone's interested. But I'll definitely be going back with my partner because it's more fun, the 2 of you, isn't it?
Story time about how I got bullied my last year of high school by the most popular girl. Okay, so this is my story time. A lot of you requested one, but I'm also at the airport, so sorry for any noise. So most of my high school years were spent in Nicaragua, except for my last year of high school. You see, I booked a show in Miami, so I had to move to the US. I was also doing modeling, commercials, and a lot of radio. I enrolled in the local high school, and it was like literally culture shock for me. I had never experienced an American high school, American parties, or even like actually mingled with American kids. I was really shocked to see how like adult they were. For example, boys and girls were doing adult things. I was constantly being invited to parties where people were drinking, but I never actually went. So the most popular girl in school decided to befriend me in quotation marks. By the way, there were so many times where I spent lunch in the bathroom like Caddy from Mean Girls. It was like Mean Girls, but real life. So this popular girl, she was also a model, and we kind of bonded over that. But behind my back, she had a bet to see which boy would take me to prom. She wanted to see how far this boy could get with me, if you know what I mean. So this popular girl who befriended me had a bet with boys to see which one would take me to prom. Specifically because she wanted to see how far they would get with me on prom night, if you know what I mean. I kept saying no to every single boy. Because I was the new girl, I was constantly getting hit on, but a lot of these boys had girlfriends. Well, since I said no to every single boy, this mean girl decided to print out flyers of the show that I was in. So basically the poster of the show.
And when I got to school the next day, there were so many posters of me on the walls, on the floor, with a lot of things drawn on my face. They were even in the boys' locker room. Then someone made up the rumor that I did that, because supposedly I wanted everyone to know that I was a working actress. I was really embarrassed, but at the same time, I kind of thought it was funny. And this really upset the popular girl. So she decided to take it a step further. She invited me to her house one day, and because I thought she was my friend, I decided to go. She cooked me pasta and we talked for a while. Then 2 boys show up. She told me one of them would be my prom date. So I'm at the popular girl's house, and suddenly 2 boys show up and she says one of them was my date. That's when I told her that I did not want a date for prom. And then the boy asked to speak to me. I talked to him and I told him that I definitely did not want to go on a date with him and that I didn't even know him. That's when he told me that my friend had set everything up, and she told him that I liked him a lot. Well, I told him that that was not true, and I basically went home. A few days later, she started a rumor saying that I was totally in love with her and that I forced her to kiss me. Yeah, she's crazy. That's when people started calling me horrible, horrible names. But the joke's on her because I was so used to getting bullied in Nicaragua. After school one day, she comes up to me and starts telling me why she doesn't like me. She was so angry she started to cry. She said that she was the pretty girl and that she was the model in school. I literally just walked away from her. I went to prom with no date, which was so fun. I graduated and then I kept working. Guess who slid into my DMs a few weeks ago asking to hang out? That's right, the popular girl. I think she must have seen my TikTok or something. Should I actually go out with her and tell her what I think? Or should I just leave her on red? You guys decide.
Am I the asshole for letting my mother-in-law botch my cookie recipe? My mother-in-law and I have failed to get along. She seems to think she's God-gift to mankind, and she never apologizes when she does something wrong. And everything is a competition. I personally don't prefer her cooking because she uses low-fat substitutes for everything. Even stuff you probably shouldn't, like cheesecake. I make really good cookies and I enjoy baking. Everyone I know likes what I make. Mother-in-law and her boyfriend came over and he tried to convince me to make some chocolate chip cookies to take home. Mother-in-law said she could make them way better than I could, and I said, okay, go for it. She said she could make them way better than me, and I said, okay, go for it. I don't care to compete with her. She goes in my kitchen and whips up a batch of cookies for her boyfriend. I was watching her and she did some stuff that I personally wouldn't have done. She used only cold ingredients and overused the mixer and didn't chill the dough. They came out bad and she burnt them slightly. Her boyfriend and my husband were both visibly disappointed. She asked how they turned out and I said they were all right, and her boyfriend frowned and my husband said mine are better. She was angry and I gave her some tips and she ranted to me about how I shouldn't have let her ruin them.